Well, we refer to it at the office as an alibi letter.
Why did you write a letter and leave it in your truck?
Because...
To try to cover yourself.
I didn't
Because
know.
you knew you messed up, you knew why you were going there, and you wanted to help yourself out if you got caught.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. Today we have another classic TCAP reaction for you, and this one is quite insane because this dude has what he thought was a 200 IQ plan of writing out an alibi letter for himself to hopefully get out of any sort of trouble in case this was, you know, Chris Hansen there. And it turns out that it was, but I don't want to spoil too much for you. Basically, this guy thought that he outsmarted the cops and everybody else in this investigation, but it ends quite differently than he would have expected. Turns out just stepping foot in this house and, you know, all the chat logs and all that, no amount of planning beforehand can save you from getting in trouble for that, which is good. So without any further ado, let's get right on into this one and watch this hilariously dumb plan unfold as this man realizes he's not going to be able to talk his way out of this.
And there came a point Saturday where they just started going away.
The word's out around here. You know, Greenville's dead. We put in Greenville to have these chat rooms, these guys stop talking.
Okay, starting things off pretty insane here. So what's happening is we're seeing some behind the scenes of the whole investigative team here. You know, there's obviously a team working on this whole sting operation, and Chris is kind of just the face of this, the person that's holding the interview. But all of the legwork is done by these people, and apparently they're realizing that right now, word has kind of gotten out that their investigation is happening, and I have no idea if these creeps in this area just are in one giant, you know, group chat, all messaging each other, but apparently word got out, and everybody knows that this investigation is going down. So a lot of the people that were going to show up are starting to turn away, which is pretty insane. And I figure that would actually happen, you know, if they film this show nowadays with social media and everything. I'm sure there's some weird Discord servers out there for these guys where they're just like, yo, don't go to that house. I just went there. Chris Hansen was there, bro. It's not a good move. There's vans parked out front and everything. Like, obviously, there's still going to be people that are too dumb to realize that and walk right up into this house and not realize what they're doing. But yeah, sounds like for the most part, a lot of these high-level creeps around here have gotten word that this is not a real person, it's a decoy, and to not go to this house.
Yeah, it was one of the camera guys.
We went 9 hours without anybody showing up at this house, which is the longest stretch of time I can remember in any of these investigations. And looking back, I think it had a lot to do with the fact word got out, at least close in.
Wow, so they sat, this is kind of sad that this is a pretty big statistic to Chris Hansen, but apparently 9 hours is the longest they've had to wait in between people getting caught in their operations. You know, usually it's like on a rotational basis. We've had episodes where people show up while the other person is still inside the house, almost as if there's just 15-minute appointments with this decoy. Quite terrifying to think that they can snatch up so many people in this investigation in such a little amount of time. But yeah, today they waited around all day for nobody to show up, and finally our person that we're reacting to today is about to show up to the door. So hopefully this goes smoothly.
It looks like he's casing the house, but finally...
Hello?
Hey, come on in. I just gotta go get my coat off, okay?
Why don't you
Just
come
sit
out?
down at the bar for a second. I'll
Why
be
don't you
right
come out
back,
here?
okay?
Hey, come out here for a second.
Why don't you come on in and have a seat real quick?
Okay.
Okay, so they realized pretty quickly that this dude is sketch. I mean, with the whole showing up, you know, in the middle of the night thing already, that's pretty creepy. But then when he's hovering at the door and is like, come out, why don't you come out here? I don't want to step inside the house. You could tell this dude knew something was up. Again, if I walk into a house like this and I see that there's like immaculate lighting, like it's a studio, I'm going to be pretty, you know, confused at what's going on. I feel like sometimes they don't do the best job at hiding the fact that they're filming a TV show here. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. They don't want to have fuzzy footage. The other sketchy thing is you never actually see the decoy in a lot of these, and I think that's why they have them talk to the decoy longer in the newer episodes, is it makes it feel more real to them. Whereas when he walks in and he just hears someone that sounds like they're trying to sound way younger than they are, being like, hey, I just gotta get my coat off, come hang out and just vibe. Like, what the hell does that mean? That's obviously someone that is not the person that they say they are. This guy realized that pretty quickly, but unfortunately Chris swooped in before he was able to leave, and now he is just bending to his will, much like every other creep. As soon as they're told to come in and sit down, they just listen. I don't know what the power is that Chris holds over them, but it's powerful.
Take your hands out of your pockets for me. Please go ahead and come on in and have a seat on the stool.
Everybody hold. Everybody hold.
At this moment, you know, the Dark County Sheriff's detectives are getting into position, getting ready for him to leave after I'd finished the interview.
And it's always crazy to see just the behind the scenes, the way they treat this. I mean, obviously it's a very important thing, but the way the cops are like sneaking around the house makes it feel like it's a video game mission or something. Like, this whole operation is quite insane. And I'm glad that finally we have cops hanging out on this one, because on the previous episodes, you know, like the last one I did, I believe, he literally got away scot-free and they couldn't find the guy because they weren't working with the police force on this. That's something that should happen. As soon as the guy walks out of the house, I want to see him in cuffs. And I know you guys feel the same way.
Honestly, I did not believe that that's who she said she was. I thought it was probably a guy trying to mess with me. You know, before I left, I was sitting there thinking to myself, you know, this is not the right thing to do.
And yet I still went, even though I sat there and contemplated on how wrong my actions were about to be. If that lie wasn't dumb enough, he also claims that he just knew that this was not the person that he was talking to. So why does that explain why you gelled your hair up, wore your fanciest leather jacket trying to look drippy, but instead you just look like a freaking extra on the Matrix movie? And why did you show up in the middle of the night, man? Like, none of this makes sense. Why was he here if he claims that he was only here to prove that it wasn't the person he was talking to? I love when they come up with that excuse. They think that's just smart enough to get them out of it. But if anything, it just proves that they truly didn't think that if they showed up. If you did think that, you would have just blocked the person and been annoyed that you wasted your time talking to them online.
I mean, just from the standpoint of, I'm 33 and she's claiming to. I mean, that's just, you know, and I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm a lonely person.
Oh, okay. He's much like everybody else we've seen on the show. He wasn't going to do anything. He's just there to chill, just to kick back and hang out. And I mean, that's harmless, you know? Everybody knows if you hang out with someone, especially when they're literally a fraction of your age, you got to make sure there's no other annoying adults around that can, you know, ruin the vibe. But other than that, they were simply just going to chill and probably, you know, hang out and watch TV or something.
You say I like surprises.
Which I do. Inappropriate. It's no question inappropriate on my part. To have a conversation and entertain and come over here is.
And Chris is just sitting here with his hands folded as this dude's just spilling out everything. He's just like expertly going over how wrong every step of this was that he's been doing this entire thing, from meeting the person online, talking to them the entire time, entertaining the idea, and then showing up at their house. Everything about it is truly inappropriate, much like he said. And I'm glad he at least realizes that, but him being honest here is not going to save his butt in any capacity. You're still set foot in this house, and you're still sitting here in front of Chris Hansen, not knowing that there's cameras and mics filming you right now. Like, your life has changed forever. No matter if you realize what you did was wrong or not, you still did it.
Can I have you read something?
This was one of the most surreal interviews that I had conducted up until this point. He starts to say, well, you know, I even wrote a letter. I said, a letter?
I wrote a statement.
Okay, dude, I have no idea what this statement's gonna be, but this dude clearly thinks that he outsmarted this entire operation, and he's pretty much providing himself a get-out-of-jail-free card with this letter that he's talking about. I don't know if they're gonna show it, hopefully they do, but I'm sure it's gonna be him trying to, like, make up an alibi for himself, or basically prove that, you know, nothing was gonna happen, much like he just said, even though they have the chat logs to disprove that. Like, I skipped, obviously, the part where Chris is reading it, but that's where he was like, it's inappropriate what I was saying. Like, yes, it was clearly inappropriate, and they would not have allowed this guy to come to this house with this operation if they didn't have enough factual evidence to put him away.
All right, why don't you read it to me?
Okay. At 8 p.m. tonight, I'm meeting a person whom I met online who claims to be a. I have no intention of supplying this person with having doing any other improper, unlawful conduct with this person. If she really is who she says she is, my intention is to befriend her and try to mentor her.
Oh my god, dude. Just every creep in this show combined with this letter right here. You could have crossed off about 3 different freaking boxes of the most common things these people say. First off, he's like claiming that he has no ill intent, even though the chat logs prove otherwise. And he also didn't bring this letter in with him. It was in his car. They had to go out and get it while he's sitting here. And the other thing is, he claims if this person is who I thought they were, I'm actually just here to mentor them and make sure that they don't make the mistake of talking to creeps online, because there's a lot of bad people out there, but I'm not one of them. It's funny how they always have this, you know, altruistic view of it, like, oh, I'm helping this person by showing up. Like, no, dude, you were about to ruin this person's life, but instead you're ruining your own life. So that's quite beautiful, poetic justice, if you ask me.
Her parents should also be aware of her behavior and possibly get her counseling.
So you're here to mentor this girl, to counsel her.
To me, no.
It's for his own safety, guys. Don't worry. He's not really worried about the safety of this person he was talking to online. Like that, he could really not care about. Because anyways, you know, it's probably not the person he was actually talking to, like he said. But if it was, then he really wanted to counsel her and also wants the parents to get the person counseling. Acting like this person that he was trying to talk to was in the wrong by talking to him. Like, you're not Batman. You're not out here solving crimes. You're literally committing one yourself. You got this whole thing twisted, bro.
But I guess at the end of the day, I just really wonder why you'd even come over here in the first place if you were so concerned. Why not just blow it off? Call the police and say, hey, look, there's a girl home alone.
And
you may want to go check on her. Don't you think that would have been the better thing to do?
But that, I honestly did consider that. I
considered that, Chris, but the other thing is, if I showed up, there's still that chance that they actually were the person I was talking to. That's what you're not getting, man. There was a point where I might not have needed that letter. If this actually was this person, it would have been sick. We would have chilled and I would have hung out with them and mentored them. You just don't understand this, man.
Okay. I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story on adults who try to meet and then and this is one of those stories.
Okay.
If there's anything else you want to tell us, we'd be happy to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to go.
I'm convinced this boom mic doesn't even do anything because the audio doesn't change. It's literally just here as psychological, you know, warfare on these guys, and I'm all for it. I mean, I want to be tormenting these dudes as much as possible because they're sick individuals. Thankfully, this guy leaves without much resisting and walks out to be questioned by the police as always. Again, thankfully, they were with him on this one, and we have a little clip here of what the police thought of his letter. Let's see if it worked out for him.
You knew why you were going there, and you wanted to help yourself out if you got caught. What was this guy up to?
Well, we refer to it at the office as an alibi letter.
Alibi letter.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens, and I'm glad these cops are obviously not idiots and realize that was the exact situation that was going down, because it's clear as day that this was going on. If you have any sort of brain that's bigger than the size of a pea, you can realize this dude was just trying to cover his own butt with this. So thankfully he goes away, and I believe it says he was on probation for 3 years. Again, a little bit of a light sentence in my opinion. I think we should just really make sure these guys are not on the street. But yeah, that about does it for this one. Let me know what you thought of this dude's alibi strategy. Quite a new strategy we're seeing adopted by this dude. It did not work out, unfortunately, but I applaud him for his creativity and disown him for his creepiness. There we go. Shout out to my Grim Squad that watches every single one to the very end. I appreciate you guys so much, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.